Welcome to this edition of On Tap, presented by FCSI the Americas. I'm Wade Kaler, Executive Director. On Tap this week, we've got one of our newer members of FCSI, but he's definitely not a stranger to the food service design community. Please welcome Mr. John Barja, President of Foodesign Associates. Thanks, John, for joining us.
Great, thanks. Thanks for having me.
Well, I'm really excited. Like I said, you're one of the newer members. We were talking about earlier, we've never even had the chance to actually meet. So I'm really, whenever I get a chance to talk to anyone new, I really look forward to this. So I think today's talk will be a lot of fun as I get to know you, especially on the personal side of things. So I guess to get started though, the easiest thing, the softball question, if you will, is just tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, how did you get your start? What kind of segments do you kind of specialize in? That type of question, or that type of answers.
I have a probably very unconventional start into this whole industry. And I guess a lot of people do, but before I became a consultant or took the job with food design as a draftsman, I was an artist.
Okay.
And I got hired because I could draw. And they figured, well, he can draw, he can draft, and I could. I really enjoyed the entire challenge of the whole food service industry that I had actually never thought when I took the position that this was a real career. And the depth of the industry was so impressive to me that after a very short time, I really set my mind to become better than the people who hired me.
Nice.
And so that was always my mission in raising the bar. And the approach I took is I looked at my job was to make my company, our company, and my employers look good. So everything that I did was to make them look good and to make them successful, because I felt like if I could make my employer successful, I'm going to be successful. I don't have to worry about it. And that was true. That
is a model employee right there. Every employer hopes they get you someday for them. That's for sure. So, okay, so tell me a little, if you're an artist and you started off that way, tell me how that particular part of this job now has changed. Because obviously, I'm guessing as an artist, you love to do by hand. Maybe you still do. We're going to get to that in a second. But, you know, obviously we've also moved on to CAD and now Revit. And so there's different forms of it. Tell me how you've evolved as an artist from when you were doing it before you became a food service consultant to what you do now.
Well, and you know, that's a really great question, because I actually view my job as an art. Mm-hmm. And therefore, when I teach my employees how to become better designers, you know, I have some different things I like to say, but probably the one thing that was taught to me when I was young and just getting started was that form follows function. Everybody would always say that form follows function. It's more important for it to look right, or to work right than to look right. And what I say is that there's a place where form and function intersect, and that's where the designer wants to live.
Nice.
And so so instead of going back in the days when we were chiseling drawings in stone, you would go back if there was a column that was in your way. You know, I remember my employers saying, "Oh, we got to get this column moved. It's messing our design up." And so once I got myself into the position where I was designing, and my approach was, how do I incorporate that element and actually, instead of trying to move it out of my way, move my design to capture it and make it look integral. And so another thing I really, really like to say a lot, if something doesn't look right or if something looks out of place, it's because it is out of place. And so each drawing sheet for me, and, you know, both, and it's true whether I was drawing in CAD or with the old sandpaper pencil, each drawing sheet for me is a composition.
Nice.
And if you took one of my drawings and you put it on the end of a pencil at the center, it would balance. It wouldn't tip. And I would teach people, look, when you're drawing things, the whole thing should look balanced. It should look filled. It should look complete. Because one of the things, and especially with CAD, a lot of what I think is a mistake is that people leave a lot of unused space on a sheet. Well, you know, if you do that, you got to print an additional sheet in that set at some point, you know, so that's a waste. Plus it, you know, as a composition, it just looks naked.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the artist part of me. And it, you know, so it's important that there's a feel. There's also, you know, energy flow to the layout. I always hated dead end corners. So those are all things that I eliminated as it came into my own as a designer.
Nice. Well, great insight to a mind that I like that you started in chiseling in stone. That's perfect. I doubt it was that far ago, but that's still good. What's one of your favorite projects you've worked on then? What's one of them you're really proud of?
That was one of the questions I thought about a lot. And I'm going to go with the Pines at Davidson. I wrote 3 different ones down. The Pines at Davidson is a retirement community. And what I really liked about that project, and I'm actually doing work there now, but why I picked that as my favorite is at that time, we did retirement homes were more like nursing homes. And so, you know, the kitchen was always the leftover space, and it was never enough. It was the corner, and you made it work. The food also had that very institutional look, the way it was handled, the equipment that was being used. And even though we were trying to do a good job as consultants to provide that very functional kitchen, it always seemed to be just make it work.
Yeah.
And so the Pines at Davidson was one of those community projects where it was moving away from the nursing home model and really building a continuing care community where people were going to come in healthy, and it was like a resort. To be able to be part of a project that was really upping the game and the quality of food service for seniors was great. It was a great challenge. I did the original facility there. I have done every single renovation, and I am doing one right now, moving to the marketplace. We also have moved away from, you know, the old tray system. They're setting up neighborhood model kitchens for the residents in their healthcare wings. And it's just exciting to have followed the evolution of that project and to bring it along with the evolution of food service for seniors. So I'll pick that one.
Well, I think that's if you've done everything along the way and you're still working on them to this day, I think that's a testament to your work as well, because obviously a customer doesn't keep bringing you back. A client doesn't do that unless they like what they've seen and like working with you. Both of those have to work in unison as well. They have to enjoy what they're paying you to do it for, and they have to enjoy working with you in order to enjoy paying you for what you're working on. So this way it's a win-win for you. And you get to continue to watch that evolution of what, like you said, almost like a nursing home atmosphere to a resort atmosphere, and you get to see that expansion.
Well,
that's amazing.
See, the other extension of what I was saying earlier about, you know, my mission as a food service consultant is to make my customers successful.
Right.
You know, I really don't take the approach as a designer of here is your kitchen. Yeah. You know, here's my design. This is your kitchen. You have to make it work like this. It's what do you need? Yeah. What's important to you, and how can I make that happen? So I really look at myself as a facilitator of making someone else's vision come to life.
Nice, nice.
And bring to the table all the depth of expertise and knowledge that I've acquired designing literally over 2,000 kitchens in my career.
Wow. Wow. So, okay, for 2,000 kitchens, that's a significant number, obviously. So I would almost bet you in that 2,000 you've done, you've screwed up at least one. So tell me about your greatest screw up and what did you learn from it?
I would say that probably my biggest mistake on a project, we had a steam heated flight type dishwasher. And then during the design, it was changed to electric. However, the utilities never got changed to electric. The long and the short of, we wound up with the steam machine. What happened though is we wound up with the steam machine on the job site, and they didn't have a steam supply for it, because the electrical engineer did at the last minute change everything over to electric, and it got lost in that shuffle. And as a matter of fact, I remember when I got that submittal in, we said verify. Hey, look, because we knew there was this conflict. I said verify utilities. That never happened.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, that was a big headache.
That sounds like it. Especially when the wrong piece of equipment shows up.
Yeah, you're scrambling to make it work for everybody.
But the
other thing I would tell consultants is, look, if you make a mistake, own up to it.
Right.
And then do everything in your power to get it resolved.
Right. Because it's all about the client, right?
Yeah, it really is. It's you can make a great piece of equipment, and it shows up on job site. They take it out of the box and hook it up, and you got a service problem. If you don't take care of that service problem, it will leave a bad taste in that customer's mouth forever. So against your brand, take care of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, it's all about our clients. And so what do we have to do to make them happy? It's not about your ego. It's not about the consulting firm or the manufacturer. It's all about that person that we're doing the work for. They're the ones that have to be happy in the end of it.
Yes.
So I hear through the grapevine that you spoke a little bit about it, but I hear you're an amazing artist, and not just in the food service consultant area. Tell me about some of your favorite paintings you've done. My favorite artist growing up, inspiration was Salvador Dali. Okay.
What I like about Salvador Dali, let's say compared to Impressionist or Cubist or abstract artist, or even the masters, which I really like, Renaissance art a lot. Salvador Dali took a realistic painting approach to things that were unreal. Yeah. And what I learned about that, and I emulated that as a young artist, and I always would create things. The way I looked at it was, cameras were great. You could take a picture, but all a camera can do is capture what's there. Well, an artist is not limited to what is there.
Right.
And so it taught me how to think outside the norm, think outside the box, and create something that is visually stimulating, effective as a composition, but it's only something people could envision in their mind, because it really can't happen in real life.
Right, exactly.
So that's, again, thinking out. It taught me how to do that, how to think outside the box. I apply all this, everything that I learned in art, I really do apply to my craft as a consultant.
Well, that wraps up most of my questions I've got for today. So if you don't mind, we're going to switch a little bit to a quicker gear, and that is our speed round. I like to end each session with some kind of fun, and today we're going to do a speed round. So what I'd like you to do is, when I say the word or phrase, just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind. Are you game for it?
I'm ready.
Okay. I love the hesitation when people say that. What's the first thing that comes to mind when I say scope creep?
Money. Cost.
Exactly. What about RFP?
Respond quickly, make it effective.
Holding spec.
Protect the customer's interest and the quality of the project.
Nice. Favorite cocktail?
Captain Morgan Straight.
Nice. Like that. Cook in or order takeout?
Cook in.
Okay. Favorite curse word?
I can't say it.
Favorite junk food?
Oatmeal cookies.
Ooh,
with raisins.
That's a good one. Karaoke or lip sync?
Karaoke.
Favorite type of music?
Rock. Classic.
Nice. Texting or talking on the phone?
Talking.
Favorite holiday?
Halloween.
Ooh, I like that too. Double dipping in food, yes or no?
Yes.
Nice. The big one, cake or pie?
Pie.
Toilet paper, over roll or under the roll?
Over. The only way.
And then the last one, FCSI.
Great professional organization. I'm late to the party.
That's okay. We still welcome you anyway. John, thanks again for joining me today. Before we get going, is there anything, any last words or any promotions that you'd like to give out to the viewers today?
Not specifically. Check our website out, Foodesign Associates, spelled out.com. 1D in food design. A lot of people miss that.
Well, that wraps up another edition of On Tap presented by FCSI of the Americas. If you enjoyed today's episode, do me a favor, make sure to like and subscribe to the channel, and then make sure to check back next week when we feature another FCSI member consultant. Until then, cheers for now.